So somebody the other day was talking to me about the stock market and how the market's been so great. It's above 17,000 or something like that. And so I wanted to pull it up here, and it got me thinking about everything, about how our money system works, for instance, like how we got here, how we got this far. And it's shocking to me that there are so many people who don't know how all this works. Yes, the Dow is at 17,000. Do you know what that means? I don't know what that means. But I know that there are a lot of factors. There are so many factors, in fact, that it's impossible for the average person to understand. I mean, truly, when you start to dig into how these markets work, it's almost unbelievable. And the things that they allow, it's so shocking that more people don't know. And the reason you know that more people don't know is because there'd probably be like riots in the streets if more people knew what was happening. Because nobody likes to be cheated. And if people really understood the inner workings of the stock market and all the rules surrounding it and all the companies surrounding it and all the big banks and hedge funds, I mean, if people really knew, it would just be insanity. And you know that people don't know because nobody's losing their minds. Because I don't like to be cheated. You don't like to be cheated, right? Nobody likes to be cheated. Everybody likes to play fair. Like if you're doing something and somebody cheats against you, you are not happy. And rightfully so. Probably human nature. So when there are these things that are so clearly set up to cheat people, and there's so many, it it's just astonishing, really. When you talk about mortgage-backed securities and money markets and hedge funds, and I mean, there are so many words with definitions after them that were created to justify a new mechanism to pull money out of our system. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And how one of the funnier ways of looking at this is in terms of a business, right? So let's take, for example, your average business. It's a toy factory. It makes toys. So what this building does, it's a giant rectangular building, is inside of it they produce toys and people give them money for those toys. And then that's how that business makes money. And then you can try to picture this, the same thing. Same building, but inside the building is not a toy factory, it's just a bunch of people sitting at desks. And the job of these people is to just make more money. And somehow at the end of every day, most days, they have made money. And they haven't produced anything. They've literally given nothing to us, aside from if you're an investor with them, they have given you money. But to the everyday person, it is just a building that produces money. And I guess you can compare toys to profits, but at the end of the day, nothing has come out of there. It's just people and computers. And the fact that there's these buildings that are, and let's take, for example, the size of a toy company versus the size of a hedge fund. And look how many toy companies are out there that make how much money, and look how many hedge funds are out there and make how much money. So you get to start to see a picture of, oh yeah, the toy company doesn't do what this other thing does. And there are like unbelievable amounts of money that just flow into these places. And it comes from somewhere. And I think what people don't understand is where it comes from. Because if they understand that it was just literally coming out of their pockets, it was just, again, people would probably be more upset about it. And another, a perfect example of how people don't realize the magnitude of the scam that's being pulled is you look at something like the national debt. So we have the U.S. national debt at $17.7 trillion with a T, trillion. It's a phenomenal number. I don't think phenomenal was the right word. An outrageous number? I don't know. It's a number that is hilarious, to tell you the truth, because as a person, you don't really get what 17 trillion is. It doesn't, it means almost nothing. It means that a lot of us owe a lot of money to somebody. I'm not sure who, but we owe 17.7 trillion. And you can sit here and watch it go up, and I wouldn't recommend it. It might make you upset. But keeps, okay, so we have $17.7 trillion in debt. And that's a lot, right? There's all these raging debates about whether or not it should be raised. Can we raise the debt ceiling? We need to start paying this down. The interest is causing so much, you know. I mean, look, per taxpayer, $151,000. What? Who do I owe $151,000 to? So you have this number and this debate around this number. Now, if you want to look at something like derivatives, and this kind of puts things in perspective. If you just Google, or I use DuckDuckGo, value of outstanding derivatives. Now, if you don't know what a derivative is, you're like most people, because most people don't know what it is. It's a financial tool that is, it's one of these tools that they use to pull money from the system. So if you look at it in terms of, there's a lot of these tools, this is just a big one. And so Google the value of outstanding derivatives, and you come up with a number in between $707 trillion, or $700 trillion, and $1.5 quadrillion. Now, that number is imaginary. Let's just put it that way. These are numbers that are fake. They don't actually mean that there's that much money out there. Of course there's not that much money out there. $1.5 quadrillion? Where? That's more than like the GDP of the world. So I don't know, like, if that doesn't mean anything to you, if you just, your brain just kind of goes, ugh, I don't get it. Most people, 99% of people don't. But if you get the fact that there are $1.5 quadrillion in just something called derivatives, just derivatives out there that are outstanding, and people are arguing about this one, 17 trillion, and there is a quadrillion dollar problem out there that nobody wants to talk about. That's when you start to realize the magnitude of the scam, and it's pretty shocking, really. And you know, I wanted to just kind of word vomit this out. I don't know why. I was thinking about it and thinking about the like how amazing it is that they've been able to pull this off for so long. And I don't know. It's pretty shocking. So I don't know. Look into it. Have fun out there. Watch out for the sharks out there in the stock market, though. All right. Have a good one.